Howdy, folks. Sorry, there's about a 3 or 4 second delay there. I was looking the other direction. Welcome to another edition of Sticks-n-Stonez. Trying to get myself pulled up over here on the Twitter, on X. That seems to be my only real struggle anymore, is trying to find myself on here. No, that's last week. Where's this week? I got a great show lined up for you today. Got a cigar that I've been seeing in my feed for a while, but just have not. I was talking to a guy earlier on Twitter earlier this week about this exact cigar, and me and I both were like, "Man, we've seen it forever, just never pulled the trigger on it." And I said, "Well, I saw it on Cigar Bid and decided that I was going to just go ahead and go for it." So I did, and I am very excited to try it out here today. That looks like me, and it is. All right, now we are all ready to go. All right, you know, there's some pairings that they just they kind of hit with like an immediate spark, an immediate boom, you know, kind of an almost like electric kind of harmony, you know. It was hot today. It was hot. I waited until the sun got over where I could sit here and do this without the sun blazing down on me. But anyway, where were we at? Where each element kind of, you know, elevates the other. And as we were talking last week with last week's pairing, you know, they had that kind of same thing going on. And that's really what you're shooting for. And forgive me if I keep looking up. We now have football back on again. So I've got the Bills and the Giants, I think it is. I don't care who's playing. I'm going to watch it. But today I am pairing E.H. Taylor Straight Rye, bottled in bond, with a Made Man 870. That's what they call this one. They don't have names for them. They have numbers, I guess. Now, I think this is going to be one of those pairings where everything kind of melds together and lifts each other up. I think this union of a very sharp rye-driven complexity with its kind of deep, I don't know, like leathery kind of finish to it, is really going to command the attention that it is deserved, and is going to blend very well with the Made Man 870. Let's go ahead and jump right on in here. Now I've paired the E.H. Taylor Rye before, but this is my first time pairing the Made Man. Not a spectacular pop on that one, but you know. All right, first off, that is beautiful in the glass. It's a very beautiful spirit. It's kind of a light copper color. Maybe just some slight tinges of red to it, but just beautiful. It's got really great legs, clings to the glass very well. Now this is a Kentucky spirit made by Buffalo Trace. It's one of these legacies that has been so hard to get until like right here recently. When I first started watching E.H. Taylor and some of the others that Buffalo Trace puts out, you know, they're $125, $150 a bottle. And now I picked up a bottle of E.H. Taylor small batch. It's one of those, you know, you got to buy something else to get to buy this. And if you spent $40, you could buy the small batch. I already had one bottle, but you know, it was $65. So I bought a second bottle. And that's kind of seems to be about the going rate. I see some places that on X that you know, they say, "Oh, I got it for $39." That seems a little low, but you know, whatever. But the supplies have definitely increased over the last several months. So anyway, back to what we were doing. Now this is a bold pepper forward kind of whiskey. The Mashbill is undisclosed, as is most of Buffalo Trace, but there's no corn because it's a straight rye. But it is believed to be predominantly rye with some malted barley. And I don't know, I'd have to go and research exactly what it has to be to call it straight rye with any other spirits. But, anyway, it is 50% alcohol by volume, so 100 proof. It's right there at that tipping point to get into the triple digits. It's bottle and bond, which means that it has to be aged for a minimum of 4 years. And I think it's going to have this really nice, smooth, old world charm that's going to blend really well with this cigar. Now on the nose, I get like apples, maybe even a little tartar than just a regular apple, maybe like a green, it's still a little green, a green apple. I get some basic baking spices and a little bit of honey. You do pick up some rye spice in the nose. There's also just kind of a slight hint of herbal-y kind of mint, kind of not like candy, but like the actual plant, spearmint or peppermint, something like that, kind of that herbal-y mint kind of thing. Now, on the palate, lots of rye spice in that. Very spicy. You get these just like waves of rye spice across your tongue. It starts on the flat part of your tongue, on the palate, and then it works around to the outside. And even though it's now kind of starting to fade on the flat part of my tongue, I'm still feeling that spicy kind of burn around the edges. But I also pick up some notes of like sugar, caramelized sugar, that kind of thing. Kind of like when they do the thing on the creme brulee, where they caramelize the sugar on top, something like that. I get some really nice notes of like toasted oak, and kind of a hint of orange peel, almost along the lines of like an old fashioned. And then that kind of leads into a really kind of long and warming finish. It does have a really nice finish to it. Don't take the fact that it's a rye or the fact that it's 100 proof. Don't let that deter you from trying it, because it is a really, really great spirit. I tell my wife all the time, and this is from years ago, but I had a Whiskey Advocate, and it said on the front that rye was making a comeback. So our joke is always that rye is making a comeback. It's apparently been making a comeback for about 10 years. But if you go in the liquor store now, you see shelves of rye. Everybody makes a rye now. It has become the thing, and this is a really good rye. It has a really nice balance of brightness and depth, and it kind of makes it stand out for pairing with cigars that can kind of match that kind of vigor. When they talk about virality, whatever, when they talk about men. He's very virile. He's a very virile man. Now, the made man, I'll go ahead and tear the footband off. This is, again, the 870. This is the Robusto. It is a 50. I'd say probably more like 5.5 on the ring. 5.5 by 50 on the ring gauge. It is 50. I think it's about 5.5. It is a medium to full. Dude, I'm a professional over here working. See, where was I at? It's a medium to full. It has a absolutely beautiful, beautiful wrapper on it. That is a Criollo. Always have trouble with that word. 99. That is kind of a medium brown. It's fairly veiny. Let's see if I can hold it up to the. Maybe picking up a few of them there. Fairly veiny, but none of them are like really extremely pronounced. Maybe there's one right here. You can see, I can see it on the camera right under the rose. I do like that band, by the way. It has very tight yet visible seams on the nose. I get some nice earthy notes. Not quite a hint of barnyard, but getting close, kind of a really fresh earth. There's some notes of cedar in there, maybe a little bit of leather, and just a touch of spice. And then maybe some nice rich tobacco. Now this is, the filler and binder are Nicaraguan, and then as I said, the wrapper is a Criollo 99. I can't like that enough, but you know, you get the point. Now this is made by, and I may butcher how this name is pronounced because I'm pretty sure it's not how it's spelled, Aganorsa. It's Aganorsa. Aganorsa, I believe. You would think it would be Aganorsa, but this is, you're talking Central America, they don't pronounce it like that. So and they have long been synonymous with both luxury and value. So this made man really should embody both of those principles. Let's go ahead and give it a cut. I think I'm doing pretty good today. Just barely over 10 minutes and we're already cutting a cigar. Sorry. On the cold draw. There's just an ever slight touch of sweetness on the lips, but not much at all. I get some really good notes of raisin and some like wet cedar. There was something else in my head. Hang on, let me try it again. Some notes of black pepper, and just a kind of a gentle kind of baking spice kind of note there, kind of underpinning all of this. So it's a really great stick so far. But let's go ahead and fire it up. Pulled out the Cigars on single torch, as I have quite a few times needed to be doing a touch-up, and the Rocky Patel 5 burner may be a bit much for touching up, you know. So I went and found my Cigars on single torch. The first few draws kind of bring in some really good notes of dark chocolate and espresso. There's some black pepper, which you would expect from a predominantly Nicaraguan. I think it's actually all Nicaraguan, even though it's a Creole anyway, whatever. But you've got some hints of kind of earth and molasses, which is a real kind of darker, deeper sweetness. And there's also some roasted nuts, not any particular nut, just kind of that nuttiness to it. The smoke is dense. I've got the ceiling fan on high because it's hotter than balls out here. And it's velvety. It seems to have a little bit of a slower burn. But that will allow the complexity to kind of unfold as we go along instead of rushing on through. I watched Alien Romulus last night, and they were headed up into space, and the guy, he got up and he was standing in the door, one of the hallways or whatever of the ship. He puts a cigarette in his mouth and he lights it, but he lights it from like this far away, but the flame comes up because of the way the gravity you're doing or whatever, and it lights his cigarette. And so then he lets the lighter go, and the cigarette just goes and is burnt. I thought that was really weird. That's kind of what you have to be careful with the Rocky Patel Envoy. It's a great lighter, but it's 5 burners. Well, I mean, if you're going to do it right. There is really kind of a confident strength to the cigar. I'm pretty impressed. It has an elegance in kind of the way the flavors are kind of developing, but you know, we're not going to spend a terrible amount of time on that. We're going to talk about together, right? That's what we're here for. See them both. All right, here we go. Oh, whoop. Touch up. I want to touch up. Yeah. Now, it could straighten itself out, but just to be safe. Here we go. I'm going in. All right. You've got the espresso and the sweetness in the spirit or in the cigar, and that is, it's got that kind of peppery edge to it because it's Nicaraguan, which is known to be pepperier tobacco. But then you have the kind of the green apple and the baking spices coming in from the spirit, and that creates some really like bright fruit tones from the kind of the ryes, like Mamba, over the Cigar's more bittersweet chocolate because it was dark chocolate. But that creates a really vibrant contrast. It's really good. Wish you could be here. Hello to all of you on X. I can see that I actually have some folks out there. Howdy. That's awesome. I love it. I love it when a plan comes together. Old 18 Days. I used to love that show. Not the movie. The movie was kind of goofy. The show was goofy enough, but it was funny. You know, I liked George Papard and Mr. T and Murdoch, the helicopter pilot that was in a loony bin. My kind of show. Saw part of the Browns game yesterday. Everybody's talking about Shakur Sanders. He had a decent day. Wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't a disaster either. So, you know, it's preseason. I kind of hounded on him pretty hard right before and right after the draft because I think his confidence, and that's being kind, kind of overstretched what teams were willing to do. And some of the things that he did in the lead up to the draft hurt him bad. I mean, if you're a quarterback of any kind of decent quality, you should be going in the second round at the latest. But for him to drop as far as he did, I think there was a lot of the teams telling him shouldn't have just effed off during the interviews and all that, where he wasn't prepared. He wouldn't answer questions the way they wanted, the way they wanted to hear their answers. He was just, And I think that comes from having prime time as a dad. You know, I mean, I love Deion Sanders. I'm glad he's got a good coaching gig out in Colorado. But you know, he was known. They didn't call him prime time for nothing. But you know, you can be confident, but don't be too confident, especially when you're trying to get a job. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. But I'm very happy to have football back on. Very happy. And then, of course, European soccer will kick off here in just a few weeks. So, you know, my Saturdays will be completely full. Watching my Bayern Munich Reds. Love them. That is a really good rye. I mean, I can't say that, you know, I know rye. I've had a few. But I tend to go on more of the sweeter side of things, which typically leads me into the Scotch and bourbon. But, you know, rye is good. I need to try a rye old-fashioned sometime. I may have a couple of old-fashions today. I went to the gym this morning, burned an extra 400 and something calories. And I weighed in this morning at 214.2. Hadn't been down in those areas in like a year. Any of you that may have been following along at home, when I started, this is August, 26 months ago, I was 275 pounds, morbidly obese. The doctor at the VA, I'm a disabled veteran from Iraq, and the VA doctor, you know, they have their great bedside manner, and he's like, "So how long have you been diabetic?" Never, not. Oh yeah, you are. Your A1C is 8.2. Anything over 6.1, and you're type 2 diabetic. Do you want us to want us to get you in our diabetic program? I do not. You don't? No. Oh, I'll talk to my doctor out in the regular world, and I'll get back to you. I went back to him a couple of months ago, because you have to go, you know, once a year. And he's like, "Oh, your A1C is 5.1. And he was still trying to get me in a diabetic program. I'm like, 5.1, dude. I'm not diabetic. My outside doctor, she was like, "Well, I've been trying to tell you for a little while." And I said, "Well, I don't think I think your bedside manner was much more warmer than his. And so I wasn't really getting what you were saying." But I went back to her 90 days after the VA appointment when he told me I was diabetic. And she said, "Well, your A1C is already down to like 6.8. You've lost like 20 pounds. We're just going to let you go for another 90 days, not put you on any medication, just see what happens." I came back in 3 months later, and she said, "Your A1C is 5.1. Or no, at that point it's 5.7. She said, "We're going to remove diabetic from your chart because you have put it in remission." She said, "I've been doing this for quite a while." She said, "I've seen a few people put type 2 diabetes in remission in 12 months. You are the first person I've ever seen do it in 6. I'm like, I got my military mind focused on a goal. I wasn't doing that. My dad was a 2-time-a-day injector. He died, let's see, I'm 56. He died at 58, had a stroke at 53. And I'm like, I ain't doing that. I want to enjoy some retirement. I ain't even got to retirement yet. I can tell you this cigar is a fairly slow burner. I may not be able to stick around with y'all for the entire thing. I like keeping y'all on no more than like 50 minutes. I don't know if 50 minutes is going to do it for this. We may just be at the halfway point by then. But I do think that even though this is a rye and it's got a really spicy kind of oomph to it, there's enough sweet in it with the baking spices and the caramelized sugar and the dark chocolate that it really doesn't come off when you start blending it with the cigar. It kind of tones that spice down enough that it's not overpowering the cigar. The cigar is doing a really great job of keeping up. I'm really surprised. Had somebody else join on. Welcome. Glad you could make it. And I can't ever see YouTube. I don't have enough different things for that. I used to watch YouTube instead of X, but you might have one or two people come in or out, and I'm like, well, I want to see that there are people actually watching this. I want to do this. I want somebody to see it. Isn't that what we're here for? I say this every week. That thing with blowing smoke in the glass doesn't really mean anything. To me, I feel like I can keep the time between releasing the puff and taking the sip to down as far as possible, since I'm supposed to be here to give you a really, in-depth authoritative review of these two things. I want to do the best I can. Can say, you can see how the top started. It's got a little groove in it, and it's kind of darker ash. But after we get past that first, probably between 1/4 and 1/2 inch, just some beautiful stacks of nice white ash. It's really a good cigar. It's not overpowering at all. This would be one that's a darker than like a Connecticut, which is where I tell most people you start with your training wheels on. If you're just getting into cigars, start with a Connecticut. I think this is probably one that you might be able to step up to fairly quickly, and you get those training wheels off. Really, really great cigar. Great volume of smoke coming off of it, but it's not like overwhelming kind of smoke. All right. Well, we're just into the second quarter, and the Giants have scored a second time. First time was field goal, though. This is preseason. They're getting all kinds of people on the field, just testing them out, trying to get some of the starters. They'll get a few reps, but they'll go out fairly quickly because you don't want to get any of them hurt. So ready for college football. I do like NFL, but I am quite the fan of college football. My Texas A&M Aggies hoping for a good year this year. This is going to be our coach's second year, so we're expecting some good things. College football, they expect success quickly. You don't have, used to, college coach might have 5 years, because you have to kind of, weed out the previous administration's players, get your own players in, get your system running right. But now then, boy, if you're not challenging for a national title by the time, especially now with the playoff system, by like the third year, you are on the hot seat. And here we have not only a new football coach, Mike Elko, then we've also got a new basketball coach. This is his first year. His name's Bucky. They call his basketball style Bucky ball. I'm like, well, Mike Elko, they call him Elks, and you got Bucky. We do at least have some, and then the previous coach before Bucky was Buzz. So we do have some good coach names. Got that going for us. Keep track of all my stuff here. It's kind of picking up a little bit as far as speed. You see there's another now layer of a little bit darker ash. That's peculiar. Not going to keep this ash on much longer because I'll have to tap it. I like to tap ash. crypto world, if any of you are crypto people, there was a big case settled out of, they went ahead and just dismissed the case. The federal government was suing the company that started XLP. Yeah, I think that's right, XLP. I own some of it. But a previous coin or token, whatever they'd come out with, the government was suing them, saying that it should have been fallen under the same kind of regulations as stocks did. And the government's kind of given in on that, which is very good as far as individual investors. Now, they're saying if institutions buy, like for instance, in stocks, you have like Charles Schwab, and you buy stocks through Charles Schwab. They buy these stocks for you for your portfolio. Those will end up more than likely falling under institutional rules, which means a lot more regulation, which is what they were trying to stay away from when they came up with this whole crypto thing 10 years ago or so. But that was that afternoon, the crypto world just lit fire with the outcome of that case. So, see, I'm leaning forward now because I'm afraid it's going to fall in my lap. Keep wanting to hang on to it as long as I can. You know, you get some good ash, you want to hang on to it. It does have a little ED going on. Some of them are really nice and straight. Some of them have a little crook to them. The carrot. That dude was wide open right in the middle of the field. Excuse me. Have to have something cool every so often. It's hot. I think it's supposed to be over 100 today. But in June, it was in the like upper 80s, low 90s. We were struggling to get the pool, the sun to get the pool warm enough to swim in, because it's got to be about 86 or so water temperature. Otherwise, you're a little cool. It takes you a little bit to get used to it. That is just a really nice, smooth, and mellow smoke. I know it's a medium to maybe even full strength, but it's got a really great, like, smooth profile to it. I don't have really any complaints on the cigar. I'm gonna go ahead and tap my ash, because that ED is getting to worry me. Another couple of puffs here, and we'll be about the halfway mark. Man, he just stiff-armed that dude right into the ground. I love watching running backs do that. Stick that arm out there and just push that defender to the ground. Another hold. Oh, he came up about 2 yards short of first down. That was all running back right there. Johnson. I can't say I really have a pro football team anymore. Just to love the Saints, but I live in DFW now, and you hardly ever see them on TV, but Dallas is on every single week. I'm okay with Dallas. I'm not one of these dim boys people. Them dim boys ain't won a playoff game in a long time. They won a Super Bowl in how long? Troy Aikman? Kind of think so. I'll say we're kind of at the halfway mark here. We could still be that far away, but good enough. And I think as we've gotten deeper into the cigar, the cigar's earthy and kind of toasted nuts profile has deepened, kind of gotten a little more beefier, and there's been more of the caramelized sugar and kind of toasted oak that have kind of come forward in the spirit. And I say a lot, don't I? It's yeah, couldn't do it. I tried. They both round out with the rye's sweetness, kind of softening the intensity for a little bit more of a kind of a creamy um, mid palate harmony, something like that. If you're watching, give me a heart. You don't even have to say anything. I always tell people I love comments, and I do. But hey, it's a whole lot easier to just push that heart button or share it. I could share it, but I'd be sharing me. I'll try it. Got prime the pump, right? Let's see what happens. There we go. Y'all do the same. Feel free to join in. I will definitely say that the burn speed has increased as we've gotten deeper into the cigar. It has. Still got that hump in it. When I first, oh, there it is. When I first started, I thought maybe it was my lighting, but it does have this little hump that keeps popping up. One side of the leaf is not burning as fast as the other. Never seen that before. There was not really any tooth on the wrapper, maybe a little bit, but that almost looks like little tooth spots on the filler, I guess. Doesn't really look like it. Could be the binder. I don't know. We get to go school shopping today. Woo, woo. Love it. I have to try and find things to fill in the time with, because you go quite a ways from when you start and the midpoint and the end. It's really hard to go like play by play, I guess you'd say. Like, oh, well, that just fell off, but this came on. Oh, wait a minute, that fell off and the other one came back. And that's why they kind of do a lot of people do like first third, second third, final, whatever. But I just do like I give you in the stuff in the beginning. I kind of tell you how it's morphed around the halfway mark, and then I'll tell you how it is at the end. That's kind of that's kind of the way I roll. So my shirt's starting to pull a little bit because it's sweaty. My Second Amendment colonial flag from Freedom Fatigues. If you go to Freedom Fatigues, FreedomFatigues.com, and you use Sticks-n-Stonez, Sticksn-Stonez 20, at the checkout, you'll get 20% off. They have some great shirts. Great shirts. I got like 4 or 5 of them. You'll probably see me a lot in my green Don't Tread on Me. Got the Gadsden flag snake on it, and Don't Tread on Me, and some stars. I love that shirt. I wear that shirt a lot. And I got this one. I got to Come and Take It. I can't remember what the other ones are. Anyway, I got several. They're really great shirts. Law enforcement and veteran owned. Support a veteran. You use Sticks-n-Stone 20, you're supporting 2 veterans. So, give it another little tap there. Just to kind of reiterate the halfway mark, I think we had another person or two hop on. The rye's caramelized sugar and toasted oak that were kind of a little bit farther down in the profile at the beginning, kind of pulled up a little closer to the top at the halfway. And then you've got the earthiness and the roasted nuts that were, again, kind of lower down in the profile of the stick, and those have kind of come up. And they've kind of both kind of rounded each other out, I guess, with the rye's sweetness softening the cigar's intensity and made it a much more creamier kind of harmony going on there. Buffalo scored. All right. I love that little video. I repost it quite a bit, but it's a woman. She's riding in the car with her toddler. Toddler looks like maybe 3. He can talk, you know. He's sitting in the back seat in a child seat, and she's like holding the phone up where you can just see him. It's recording him, and he's like, "It's hot." And it looks like they're riding with, maybe they don't have air conditioner or whatever. The windows are down. He's like, "It's hot." He's like, "My balls are sweating and everything." I about fell out the first time I heard that. And she goes, "What?" He said, "My balls are sweating and everything." She goes, "Oh, your balls are sweating?" "Mm-hmm." You go, buddy. I can say it is one of a slight detractor that this stick burns pretty wavy. Now, I'm not, I say this pretty much every time too. You know, those people be like, "Oh, it had this razor straight burn line." I'm like, well, maybe from a natural sense, but not when you think about an actual razor cut. They're gonna do this, but when they start doing that, that's not natural. You have to hit that up a little bit, get it a little better. We're getting there. Lit the cigar at about 8 minutes, so we've been burning at about 35 now. Said it's kind of started speeding up when it got closer to the halfway mark. It seems like it's burning a little faster. I didn't let these really sit and age in my humidor. They just came in a few days ago. Stuck them in the cigar cabinet. And I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and do it today. Why not? I tried to blow smoke rings, but got the ceiling fan on it, wouldn't work. I'm not very good at it anyway. Maybe 1 or 2 out of every 10 attempts. That is a really, really good rye. Again, it is bottled in bond, which that comes from some regulations from 1896, 97, something like that. So, 135 years ago. That it has to be aged for a minimum of 4 years, a certain proof, that kind of thing. It doesn't really mean much as far as the distillation. It has to be aged a certain amount of time. It can't be, like some bourbons are 80 proof or 85 proof. It's got to be, I think it's 100. I have to go back and look at the things. I haven't looked at them in a while. But you know, people make a big deal about bottled and bond. It just means a little more aged, you know. We all love a little age. It's like 18 and 21-year-old scotches, 25-year-old scotches. I'm like, yeah, I don't age like a fine scotch. I age more like milk. Yeah, gotten old and sour. A couple more puffs and we'll be ready to wrap this little joker up. I think I'm getting better. I look back at some of the first one or two I did there in season one, the very first one where I kind of launched the channel. Oh, it's terrible. And that was back when I was 275. I was a whole lot rounder than I am now. People say, what'd you do to lose all that weight? I watched what I ate and exercised. They're like, you didn't do sugar busters or carnivore or any of those? No. I definitely watched my sugar. I cut almost all my sugar out. Not all of it, but almost all. When I was really losing weight. And I've been trying to maintain for the last, 8-10 months, I guess. So like yesterday, I had breakfast. I had to go into the office yesterday. So, I had an English muffin with some Chalk Zero Nutella type stuff on it and my iced coffee. And then I had a couple of granola bars at lunchtime. And then last night I had a grilled chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A, a medium fries, and a vanilla shake. Yeah. So biggest thing I did was track what I ate. I track it on and I don't get paid for this. I track it on this app called Lose It. Put in everything I ate. The great thing is, like Chick-fil-A or places like that, you can type in and it'll come up with all the stuff that's been entered from that restaurant. And even the not fast foods like I don't know, Applebee's, Chili's, those kinds of places. Even places that I believe are more local. I don't think they're a national chain, and that's Gloria's Latin Grill or something like that. We go to Gloria's all the time. Dallas has a patio season. It's a 2-part patio season, once in the fall and once in the spring. And the rest of the year, it's either too hot or too cold for patios. But you go hang out on the patio at Gloria's and drink margaritas. But, you put in stuff off their menu, pops up. So that's how I did it. I track. And what you do is you put in how much weight you want to lose, how long you have to lose it, and it will calculate how many calories a day you need to be taking in. And you put your stuff in, and it calculates it up for you, and you're either over or under for the day. But they want you to track it by the week. So if I know we're going to go out tonight and go out somewhere and have a big meal, it's going to be a lot of calories, all that kind of stuff, I can kind of shave back a little bit during the week so that by the end of the week, I'm still under for the week. It's a good way to do it, But I just kind of came up with it on my own and what was in the app. I did all the exercising and stuff myself. I do the elliptical. Like I said, I'm a disabled veteran, so I can't really run. I got 3 degenerating discs in my back. I got a bad hip, 2 bad knees. So I do the elliptical machine. And when I was really losing, I was doing 3 times a week. Now I'm down to 1 time a week, same amount of time I would do each of those 3. I do like 35 plus the 5-minute cool down, so like 40 minutes. And I was 214 this morning. Well, we're getting down close, so I won't make you stay. I know it's Saturday. People got places to go and things to do. Here in the final third, the pepper and the molasses and that kind of espresso dark roast coffee have kind of dominated. The rye, that herbal mint that was up at the very beginning, that was kind of near in the background, that and the spice have continued to really kind of remain, lively in the pairing. And I think what the result is it's had this kind of bold, lingering finale that's warm and spiced and just really deeply kind of satisfying. Wow, he hit the upright and it went in 50 yards out. All right, Giants are up. I think you could say that this particular pairing is kind of a maybe an exercise in controlled power, because ryes are typically a spicier, bolder, more spirit, and this was it had some really the cigar had some really nice spicy and peppery notes to it. They are both assertive and kind of just overflowing with character. But they never clash. That's the big thing. They don't ever clash. The rye's kind of herbal brightness and the kind of sweet and spicy finish kind of cuts through the cigar's richer tones of earth, while there's a little depth, kind of a leathery depth in cocoa that tempers the kind of the whiskey's more sharper edges. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful pairing that everybody should definitely try. If you have a cigar lounge in your backyard, nice leather chairs, that kind of stuff, sit back and just enjoy a smoke and some E.H. Taylor rye, and really savor the all of the complementing flavors of the E.H. Taylor Straight Rye, and the Made Man 870. Overall, I would say for balance, I'd give them like a 9 out of 10. Flavor harmony, I think, was more like a 9.5. But then for complexity and satisfaction, I'd give them a 9. So, we're looking at maybe a 9.1, 9.2, something like that. The math is not exact, but this is definitely a really great pairing that I think you would like. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share, notify. Tell all your friends. Tell them about this crazy dude in a cowboy hat that smokes cigars and drinks spirits, whiskey, rum, all that kind of stuff. Port wine. I think I've even paired a beer with a cigar. That's a little tricky there, but go find us out on Amazon, at the Amazon store. Got some great Sticks-n-Stonez shirts out there. We also have, if you put in Greater Love Hath No Man t-shirt, I should be the first or second thing on the list. And it is a really great shirt. It's been my bestseller on Amazon. It's just got the Sticks-n-Stonez logo, kind of pocket size on the front, American flag, Sticks-n-Stonez under it. And then on the back, it's got a desert soldier. A soldier in his desert camo with his M4. And it's got the Bible verse, greater love. No, sorry. Which one? That's not greater love. No, I'm sorry. I've told you the wrong shirt. Wrong shirt. That's my new shirt. The one that's been selling so well has been Here Am I, Lord, Send Me. There you go. Now we're cooking. And it's got the desert soldier on the back, and it's got the Bible verse that says, the Lord said, "Who shall I send, and who shall go to us, and who shall go for us?" And underneath it says, "Here am I, Lord, send me." I sell more of that shirt than I have anything else. Go out there and look at one of those. You'll really like them, I'm pretty sure. Buy one for your military family, or your vet, or yourself. Just if you're a patriot, go out and buy those. So anyway, till we get to be together again, keep your sticks dry, stones cold. Have a great day.